Good morning. My name is OnePegMG, and this is the Tarkov news for December 18th, 2018. Before I get into that, as always, please, if you consider this content relatively valuable in any way, shape, or form, I would ask that you please consider doing the whole like and subscribe thing, as well as in the description, there is a link to Twitter, Discord, and my Twitch channel, all of which I am extremely involved in. We try and go hard every single day. So, Tarkov news. I ended up on Polygon. Like, what? I know I made a really public resignation. I felt like there were some thoughts that I really needed to share. It was 3 in the morning. I know I rambled. I was talking slow and shit. Like, okay, I got it. I love the Reddit comments. Like, I think every other one was like, who are you? I think I've said like a million times, for anybody that's watched any of this, I've always said, like, I'm nobody. I'm this big. It's okay. I'm fine with it. I just like making the content. I like reading about what's going on in the community. I like learning. I like interacting. I like talking to all of you guys. So I'm nobody. But even the guys that have millions and millions of subs, they're nobody too. It's okay. We can all be nobody together. I'll hold your hand. We can even interlock fingers. That's how close of a friend I would be to you. Just saying. I still can't believe I ended up on Polygon though. That's crazy. Arnie's here. We're hanging out. He's rocking his Christmas sweater. And we're gonna talk about Tarkov for a minute. So, this guy named Leonard French. If you guys aren't following him, if you aren't subscribing to him on YouTube, I sincerely suggest that you consider doing this. You should. He is a copyright attorney. I'm actually pretty familiar with him. I've watched his stuff quite a bit in the past, just learning about business law. It's a fascinating subject for me. He talked about last night for the better part of an hour, censorship regarding DMCA takedowns and Eroktic's situation. His channel is Lawful Masses with Leonard French. I will make sure that I also leave a link in the description should you guys so choose to do that. Now, I don't want to steal his thunder. Too god-awful bad here. I just wanted to kind of summarize a couple of things that he said, and I also wanted to take a moment to apologize to all of you guys. Early on in this process, I was more or less being fed information from people that were not as reputable of a source as I would like to have at one time believed. Battle State. Sorry, got a little something in my throat there. At the point in time that I was still operating as emissary for Battle State Games, I was actually privy to conversations that I'm not going to disclose regarding these DMCA takedowns. And I was under the impression that Battle State was within their rights to do what they did. I have since learned some pretty interesting pieces of information. So Tarkov as a game absolutely has the right to revoke the ability for someone to stream or create content for their game. In their terms of use, it outlines that they basically are giving you permission. It is true for just about any game that anyone could be using to create content with. However, arguments for art and creativity absolutely could be made because the games don't play themselves. You have to make little inputs with your controllers, right? You mash the buttons, things happen, yeah? However, that portion of quote-unquote fair use has not really been something that's been litigated before. DMCA procedure via YouTube is to initiate the takedown request and then figure it out later, because their stance on this is that they obviously want to stay safe themselves from legal action, so they're going to honor that. And Battle State knew this. Whoever was pushing the buttons at Battle State knew that the DMCA takedown process was rather instantaneous in nature. And in their Facebook post, they went on to say, essentially, that's what they were doing. They initiated it because they wanted that takedown procedure to happen. Now, they released a further Facebook statement that came later where they said they had taken this down because they were trying to protect themselves and the community from misinformation that could be damaging. Sounds an awful lot like defamation, right? And one of the things that I said in the past was this is slander or libel, and defamation is something that the company should absolutely be protecting itself from. However, The DMCA process is not for defamation. There is a defamation process that you follow regarding those types of lawsuits. The other thing is, when you do a DMCA takedown, you have to go back and actually sue the person that you made the takedown request for. If there's no lawsuit, then there's no DMCA. The other piece of this that I find absolutely hilarious is that Battlestate openly admitted in a statement on Facebook that they initiated this process, and then they were reviewing each and every one of the little videos, and then they were going to come out and tell you whether or not those videos were okay. Like, they were the ones making the choice as to whether or not those videos were something that they were going to remove the strike from. And here's the thing. DMCA is not for that. When you make a DMCA claim, you are taking into consideration all of those things prior to making the DMCA claim. You don't make the DMCA claim and then figure out whether or not DMCA applies. That's not what it's for. That is a misuse of DMCA that you openly admitted to on Facebook. This is really similar to another case regarding this individual that I researched a little bit and found out about. Alex Maurer is a video game composer. Alex Maurer initiated over 100 DMCA claims against a game called Star Mazer because people were rebroadcasting the music that Alex Maurer had produced. You can't do that. In fact, in this case, Leonard French was involved in this, and I had forgotten about it, and I remembered watching some of the videos that he had talked about with this. Again, another reason to go back and watch his stuff. He actually litigated this and had Alex back down and sign off on a settlement, essentially saying that he would not continue to pursue these DMCA requests because they're illegal. What's further in this is the DMCA process. That law is a United States law. The law is recognized via international treaty. So when an outside country invokes a United States law, what happens then is the laws surrounding DMCA are also recognized. The copyright laws associated with DMCA, as the United States recognizes them, takes precedent, which means that the terms of service for Battlestate games ends up being a piece of paper that you can wipe your ass with. The TOS of the game goes completely out the window because the TOS of the game, if contradictory to what United States copyright law says in regard to DMCA, the TOS loses. TOS falls behind that. So, Battlestate openly admitted that they violated DMCA because of the way that they went about doing what they did. They invoked United States law, which means all of the bullshit that was being spewed on Facebook back in the face of people that were trying to tell Battlestate that they were wrong, where they were telling people, well, it's in violation of the terms of use of the game, had no fucking idea what they were talking about. And then they further legmated themselves because they said that they were the ones reviewing DMCA and whether or not it applied to the videos that they were reviewing, and just they shot themselves in the knee. They went full Cheddar Bob, and you never go full Cheddar Bob. They've legmated themselves. Like they are the scavs that self-inflicted their own wounds. And because of all of this, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, right? But because of all of this, I look at this on the outside and go, well, shit, Eroktic's got a case. He could sue the pants off of these fuckers. Because you could easily draw the parallel between lost revenue, defamation of his own character, right? I mean, they went out on a limb and said that the reason why they're doing this is because Eroktic was spreading misinformation and all this other stuff. They have to sue him for defamation now. If they don't sue him, Eroktic can sue them for defaming him. Like, they're defaming Eroktic by saying that he was trying to defame Battlestate. Like, how twisted is that? And it's all, and then there's also this countersuit about DCMA in the first place. And I don't want to steal any thunder from Sid Alpha, but he made a fantastic point. Only one of the videos shows any footage of any Battlestate game in it whatsoever, and that's in an 8-second title sequence to the 2 that are left, because now Eroktic has 45 of his 47 videos back. Only 8 seconds of the first video had any footage from Escape from Tarkov in it whatsoever, and that was in the title sequence. And the second video didn't have any Battlestate IP in it whatsoever. Not a second. None of it. All he did was talk about them. So the second video, you can't even DCMA claim, or DMCA claim. You can't even make that claim on that video because it didn't contain any Battlestate Games IP whatsoever. So there is a blatant overreaching and abuse of DMCA here. And I want to say that I am very, very sorry for saying that Battlestate had a leg to stand on. Even in the video that I made when I was resigning, I was still under the impression that they had something to do against Eroktic regarding the copyright claims. They don't. They don't at all. In my opinion, I have been completely turned. They have no leg to stand on whatsoever in regard to copyright claim. They may have a position regarding defamation, but that is yet to be seen. And the winner in all of this, honestly, is going to be Eroktic, because he has a suit, in my opinion. If it were me, I would be like, let's go. We're going to sue the shit out of him. And what the sad reality is in all of this, and the final point that I want to make regarding this, now that I'm on 12 minutes, and I'm sorry that this was long-winded, but the final point that I want to make in this is the real crazy shit here is that there was an announcement about the .11 update where they wanted to be done by Christmas. They wanted this thing to be over with. They wanted Terra Group Labs and .11 to be out by the new year, not necessarily by Christmas, but what's 5 days. They were looking so forward to having this done. There's no way that this hasn't set them back. And if there is a lawsuit from Eroktic, is it thousands, tens of thousands? Is it 100 grand? I don't know yet. You know, how far does defamation go in terms of monetary damages? The really messed up thing in all of this is you could have used that money to hire a developer or 2 or 3, depending on how bad these damages are going to get, because I got a feeling they're going to be paying. You could have hired a developer or 2 and put them to work on making deadlines, finishing up a quality product, trying to get this thing out to market, trying to create something that is playable. Fix the game, as all the hashtags would say. And now, instead of allocating monetary resources for that purpose, instead, you are going to have to make a payment to a guy that is this weaselly-faced, raggedy-bearded-ass Croatian that got under your skin because he said something you didn't like. And instead of just consulting a disinterested third party that could have given you some good advice and some guidance that you should have fucking listened to, now you're going to be in a situation where you are going to have to pay out the ass for not having been careful and reacted to this like a schoolyard kid that heard somebody that was talking shit about you, and you decided to go and punch them in the face. And the only thing that happens when you punch somebody in the face is somebody comes back with a bat, and then somebody comes back with a knife, and we see the conflict escalate back and forth. And at the end of the day, only 2 people are going to get paid, in my opinion. A lawyer and Eroktic. Have a nice night, guys. I'll be back at it again tomorrow. We'll hopefully have some news that doesn't have all this drama bullshit involved in it, and we'll be able to move on. Because I, for one, would like to get back to just talking about the game's development instead of talking about how game developers should not be involved in legal proceedings. I'll see ya.